Yeah, the coldest that I've ever been out in that was, and I think it was colder, but the coldest that I've ever seen on a thermometer was 58 below. And that was in Fairbanks back in, I don't know, 2000 and maybe 2000, sometime around that time, 2099. We moved up here in 98. So either 99 or 2000, 2001, something like that. Um, but we were doing some training up outside of Fairbanks in the White Mountains. And the White Mountains, incidentally, is where Deadline takes place in those cabins. And there's a cabin up there called the Fred Blixt cabin that you can drive to. All the others you have to ski or take snow machine to. But and when I say snow machine for people in the low 48, I mean a snowmobile, but we call them snow machines up here. Excuse me. But we'd gone for part of our tactical tracking unit, which was kind of like a SWAT team, except rural, and we dealt with man tracking, boots on the ground man tracking. So we'd gone up there to train, and when we drove through Fairbanks, the sign on the bank said 58 below. Of course, our cars all say 40 below because that's where it stops. It won't, the electronic thermometer just says, I'm done, 40 below. That's as cold as we go. And that, incidentally, that's where Celsius and Fahrenheit meet. When it's 40 below, then it's 40 below either way, and then they diverge again on the other side of 40 below. So you learn when it gets to be probably colder than 30 below. You learn that, well, even that, I'd say when you get below 20 below, you learn it's very dangerous to touch anything metal. Even a little warmer than that, it's dangerous. But like if you're out in 40 below and you drop your keys in the ground, you don't take your glove off and plunge them down in the snow to to get your keys, because you'll come up with blisters and dead skin on your hand the next day. I just took a tent apart when it was about 26, 27 below. We had some of the guys up here that were shooting a documentary on the Marshal Service, and I took them out along with some of the deputies that I worked with to do some cold weather survival stuff. And it got to be not quite 30 below. I can't remember exactly, but it was in the low 20s below, like 26 below, 27 below, something like that. And so I was showing them how you can dig a snow cave if you do it right. And when you crawl up inside that snow cave, it'll get up to be 19, 20 degrees above. And relatively, it's balmy. When it's that cold outside, then you get inside a snow cave that's, 20, 24 degrees, just below freezing, and you strip down to your smart wool long johns because it feels good. It feels, you get that flush on your face and have a little candle in there for light. And so I was showing them that you can survive quite well if you take the time and don't get wet and all that. We had a little tent set up as like a warming tent in case somebody's snow cave fell or whatever. We had really, my sleeping bag is a 60 below sleeping bag. So, my mantra when I take people out for those sorts of things is, if one of them gets frostbite, I have failed as a leader. So I really am on them all the time. And I really believe that. But I got frostbite. So I'm worried about them. And one of the guys went on to, he's brand new in Alaska. He went on to be one of the main producer shooters of Life Below Zero, and just became an expert in Alaska himself. And in fact, his mother is Japanese. She's the one that assists me when I go to Japan with doing my interpreting and translation for hard to, like police jargon and stuff. She takes me in when I'm doing interviews and stuff. But so Rob just got to be really, really good at working in the wilds of Alaska. But I had this warming tent set up, and he was kind of helping me take it down. And fortunately, he didn't take his gloves off, but I had like one little set of aluminum poles that I couldn't get apart with my mittens on. So I stripped a mitten off, and even under my mittens, I wear glove liners. But the glove liners are wool; they're merino smart wool, and I couldn't get it even with that. It kept slipping because it had frost on the outside of it just from our breath. And so I thought I'll just get it really quick. So I pulled the glove liner off, popped it, put everything back on. The next day I had the perfect. It was like I was branded by that little piece of metal because it was at least 26 below, probably a little colder. When you get down to, I kind of have an unofficial. Once it gets to be 10 below, I can feel it in my nose. Like if I walk outside and take a breath, my nose will freeze shut if it's 10 below. As it gets colder, you kind of, it starts to, like, I don't even wear long john bottoms until it's 5 or 6 below. 10 below, I'll wear long john bottoms. 20 below, 10 below, I'll put on snow pants. Or if I'm going to be, digging snow caves or whatever. So when it gets down into below 10 below, up here in the Anchorage area, school kids are required to go out and play outside at recess down to 10 below. And once it gets, we call that tundra tough. Once it gets colder than 10 below in the Anchorage area, I think it's actually colder in Fairbanks that they have them go outside, but they're a hardier breed sometimes than I think we are.